Scope and purpose. Scope: the application of this code is intended to assure the safe design, construction, installation, operation, and inspection of every refrigerating system employing a fluid which normally is vaporized and liquefied in its refrigerating cycle. When employed under the occupancy classification listed in Section 3, the provision of this code are not intended to apply to the use of water or air as a refrigerant, nor to gas bulk storage tanks that are not permanently connected to a refrigerating system, nor to refrigerating systems installed on railroad cars, motor vehicles, motor-drawn vehicles, or on shipboard. For shipboard installation, see ANSI ASHRAE 26, 1978. Purpose: this code is intended to establish reasonable safeguards to life, limb, health, and property, to define certain practices which are inconsistent with safety, and to prescribe standards of safety which will promptly influence future progress and developments in refrigerating systems. Application: this code shall apply to refrigerating systems installed subsequent to its adoption and to parts replaced or added to systems installed prior to or subsequent to its adoption. In cases of practical difficulty or unnecessary hardship, the authority having jurisdiction may grant exceptions from the literal requirements of this code or permit the use of other devices, materials, or methods, but only when it is clearly evident that equivalent protection is thereby secured. Equipment listed by an approved nationally recognized testing laboratory is deemed to meet the design, manufacture, and factory test requirements sections of this code or equivalent. For the refrigerant or refrigerants which such equipment is designed, listed refrigerating systems are not required to be field tested to comply with Section 12 of this code. Definitions. Adsorber is that part of the low side of an absorption system used for adsorbent vapor refrigerant. Absorption. A adsorption system is a refrigerating system in which the gas evolved in the evaporator is taken up by an absorber. Approved means acceptable to the authorities having jurisdiction. An approved nationally recognized testing laboratory is one acceptable to the authorities having jurisdiction that provides uniform testing and examination procedures and standards for meeting the design, manufacture, and factory test requirements of this code. Is properly organized, is equipped and qualified for testing, and has a follow-up inspection service of the current production of the listed products. Braced joint is a gas-tight joint obtained by the joining of metal parts with alloys which melt at a temperature higher than 800 degrees, but less than the melting temperature of the joint parts. Brine is any liquid used for the transmission of heat without a change in its state, having no flash point or a flash point above 150 degrees, determined by the American Society for Testing and Materials Method D93. Companion or block valves are pairs of mating stop valves, valving off sections of systems and arranged so that these sections may be joined before opening these valves or separated after closing them. Compressor is a specific machine with or without accessories for compressing a given refrigerant. Compressor unit is a compressor with its prime mover. Condenser is that part of the system designed to liquefy refrigerant vapor by removal of heat. Condenser coil is a condenser constructed of pipe or tubing other than a shell and tube or shell and coil type. Condensing unit is a specific refrigerating machine combination for a given refrigerant consisting of one or more power-driven compressors, condensers, liquid receivers when required, and the regularly furnished accessories. Container is a cylinder for the transportation of refrigerant. See 14.2. Critical pressure, critical temperature, and critical volume are the terms given to the state point of a substance at which liquid and vapor have identical properties. Above the critical pressure or critical temperature, there is no line of demarcation between liquid and gaseous phases. Department store is the entire space occupied by one tenant or more than one tenant in an individual store where more than 100 persons commonly assemble on other than the street level floor for the purpose of buying personal wearables and other merchandise. Design pressure is the maximum allowable working pressure, PSIG, for which a specific part of a system is designed. Direct system, see 4.2. Double direct system, see 4.3. Double indirect vented open spray system, see 4.4.4. Duct is a tube or conduit used for conveying or encasing purposes as specifically defined below. A. Air duct is a tube or conduit used for conveying air. The air passages of self-contained systems are not to be construed of air ducts. Pipe duct is a tube or conduit used for encasing pipe. Wire duct is a tube or conduit used for encasing either moving or stationary wire, rope, etc. Entrance is a confined passageway immediately adjacent to the door through which people enter a building. Evaporator is that part of the system designed to vaporize, liquefy refrigerant to produce refrigeration. Evaporator coil is an evaporator constructed of pipe or tubing other than a shell and tube or shell and coil type. Exit is a confined passageway immediately adjacent to the door through which people leave a building. Field test is a test performed in the field to prove system tightness. Fusible plug is a device having a predetermined temperature fusible member for the relief of pressure. Generator is a device equipped with a means of heating used on absorption system to have refrigerant out of solution. Hallway is a corridor for the passage of people. High side means the parts of a refrigerating system subjected to condenser pressure. Humanly occupied space is a space normally frequented or occupied by people, but excluding machinery rooms and walk-in coolers used primarily for refrigerating storage. Internal cross volume is the volume as determined from internal dimensions of the container with no allowance for volume of internal parts. Limited charge system is a system in which, with the compressor idle, the internal volume and total refrigerant charge are such that the design pressure will not be exceeded by complete evaporation of the refrigerant charge. Listed means equipment that has been tested and is identified as acceptable by an approved nationally recognized testing laboratory. Liquid receiver is a vessel permanently connected to a system by inlet and outlet pipes for storage of a liquid refrigerant. Lobby is a waiting room or large hallway serving as a waiting room. Low side means the part of a refrigerated system subjected to evaporator pressure. Machinery is the refrigerating equipment forming a part of the refrigerating system, including any or all of the following: compressor, condenser, generator, absorber, liquid receiver, connecting piping, or evaporator. Machinery room is a room in which a refrigerated system is permanently installed and operated, but not including evaporators, located in a cold storage room, refrigerated box, or air-cooled space, or other enclosed space. Closets solely contained within and opening only into a room should not be considered machinery rooms, but shall be considered a part of the machinery room in which they are contained or open into. It is not the intent of this definition to cause the space in which a self-contained system is located to be classified as a machinery room. Alright, my time's about to be up, so I will end it right there and then I will get back to it.